misconception
Mhm.
with women as well.
You don't want to, weights will make me bulky. I like that one. That's a good one. So yeah, just a few different ones. We had slim tea, we had cardio. I forgot to press record there, so I just jumped in record. Yeah, we had cardio, we had teas, went protein shakes. Is it before training, after training? Is it a right or wrong time to take it? Carbs after 6 o'clock. That's a good one, Jackie. We'll come to that. Slimming tea is another one. Again, we'll come to that one with regards to spiking your metabolism, and green tea makes you burn fat, and fat burners and all these sort of different things. So a lot of good ones. A lot of good ones.
Cheese before bed.
Huh?
Cheese before bed. Is that a myth?
Cheese before bed.
Cheese. You've not eaten cheese before bed, so they say.
That's true. That's true. That's right.
Cheese before bed.
All right, I'm just going to pop people on mute just so there's no background. Oh, sorry there, Ewan. All right, so making our way through this. This is kind of what we're going to run through. Again, a lot. May I recommend, if you have your laptop or pen and paper, now would be the time to get it, because there's going to be a lot here, and I want this to be as engaging as possible. I want you to kind of shout out, blout out any times. Again, we'll have a question section at the end, so any time that something comes up, just pop it in the question box, or if I open up for discussion, then please do. I just want you to understand, again, I've been through all this stuff, and this is all the stuff that I've failed for, and it's only through going to the seminars and listening to the right people and making these mistakes myself that I'm kind of in this position where I've got a decent understanding of the situation which we have at hand. So again, ask questions, take some notes, anything which kind of jumps out at you and you want to discuss or you want to dive in a little bit deeper, by all means, just shout out. So first things first, the internet is a terrible, terrible place. Don't believe everything you read on the internet. Just, oh, there's William. Yeah. So I'm just going to pop William on mute as he's joining. Hey, William, how's it going, buddy? I'm just popping you on mute just now. Thanks a lot. So yeah, don't believe everything you read on the internet just because there's a picture with a quote next to it. It's one of my favorite quotes by Abraham Lincoln. Obviously, that's not true. But you get the picture. Just because there's a fancy word or someone's got a pair of abs and they said that this tea will make you lose weight, don't fall for that. Which then leads into my next slide, which summarizes things absolutely perfectly. Good old Colonel Sanders. Hey, hey. Protein will get you jacked. Eat my chicken. That's it. That's right. Yeah. So again, just because it's a cheesy one-liner, guys as well, any social media proof, I do appreciate. Take screenshots, share photos, tag me in any of these. It does do a lot for me, and as well, this is just funny. I just personally like it anyway. So yeah, just because it's a shiny photo with someone with abs does not mean that it's true. So go home, social media. You're drunk. We know that we're outlined by a lot of people who basically just saying it worked for me, so it's going to work for you. The one size fit all approach. We're going to touch on a little bit later in terms of how to identify when to maybe follow good advice or when to follow bad advice. There'll be a few buzzwords. So again, the whole it worked for me. The best thing to do is honestly just put the blinders on. If you can spend time going through your social media and just unfollowing everybody who just doesn't bring some form of value to you, if you question their thing, I would just get rid of them. There's, yeah, of course, ask any questions. Again, down the bottom, I'm obviously not a nutritionist or anything like that. That's just the main thing to consider. Focusing on the bigger picture, what are we trying to achieve? Again, if you're focusing on weight loss, then we know we need to focus on the principles. The man who knows the principles knows there is thousands of methods, and then you don't get confused. So you need to make sure that the method you choose aligns with the direction that you're actually heading in. For example, I'd be like putting the cart before the horse. You're not going to get anywhere. You're not going to go the right direction. You can put in all the effort you want, but you're still heading in the wrong direction. So when you think of is you're committing to your goal, make sure that you're following through on that goal. Understand the time frame which you're playing to. I think as well that's going to be the biggest thing. One thing I try to implement with you guys is always, right, what time frame are we working to? How long are we working this to? So you've got a bit of clarity in your action so that we know if a diet's going to be more sustainable or less sustainable. Down the bottom right hand side here, you have the muscle and strength nutrition, muscle and strength training pyramids. So you can see here, the most important thing which we consider as behavior, lifestyle, and adherence. Following that on the nutrition side, it's just all about calories, macronutrients, micronutrients, nutrient timing, and then supplementation. On the right-hand side, we know again, it's just the same again, adherence, it's volume, intensity, and frequency. Volume is how much weight you're doing, how much of the weight you're doing. Intensity is how much weight you're doing, and frequency is how often you're doing it. Progressing will obviously go on. If anyone wants these, I have these available for download, and you can read in a little bit further. Very, very insightful, very, very simple. You could probably read through it in like a day, both of them. And then, honestly, if you can understand the ins and outs of this, you could probably do your own nutrition and your own training. Me and John had a really, really good one, actually. When John was kind of doing his programming and training with me, he actually kind of just jumped on, and John kind of wrote his own program. Jackie, send them over to you. I sure can. Yeah, 1 month, me and John wrote his own program, and I just kind of critiqued it and just made some simple tweaks and adjustments to it. But yeah, again, John's got the knowledge for his nutrition. John's got the knowledge for his training. It's not as if it's ever out there. What's the only thing, again, the only reason I'm here with John is the implementation and the strategy. And as well, I think me and John got on well. I'd like to say I'm an all right guy, but hell, I could be wrong. All right, so this has caused more obesity than anyone you can possibly ever think of. Any diet, whatever it is. Jane, I'll just upload them onto the Facebook group maybe. So again, good food versus bad food. This is probably, I'm going to say, this is the main reason as to why we are more obese than ever before. This, accompanied with our low levels of activity, just due to everything being easier, has saw our obesity rates continue to climb since 1978. Not only that, in the last 10 years, obesity in dogs have also been increasing by 18%. 10 years, 18% of our family household pets are more obese. So again, that's obviously saying something with regards to our activity levels, but as well, it's obviously showing that it's not genetics. You're not just genetically fat, because your dog is also getting fatter. So we need to look at one, activity levels, but we also need to accompany that with obviously our mindset and our understanding of what food is, what food isn't as well. So at the end of the day, food is just calories. Calories is just energy. Energy is just what movement we perform in the body. Now, of course, if you are on the left-hand side and if you have a high quality, high nutrient density, the way that I try to think of that would be like, if you put in like petrol in a petrol car. In comparison, when you start sort of maybe using like diesel in a petrol car, you may start running into some issues. You may get away with it every now and again, but of course, in the long run, it's definitely going to cause some sort of problems in that. So again, a good balance. The good rule I like to focus on is as long as 80% of your meals are solid from quality foods and 20% is refined, then you should be okay. So number one, this was my sort of big one that I'd again fall for, is meal frequency. Having a higher frequency meal leads to more weight loss. So this is again very much popularized by the gym bros, who said 6 meals a day to keep metabolism high and muscle protein synthesis. Now you need to understand that for them to have and consume 4,000 plus calories a day, it'd be very hard for them to do that with breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So, of course, if they double their meal frequency and they double the amount of calories from 2,000 to 4,000, then it makes things a lot easier to consume that. Personal preference really just comes down to, like we said, we need to focus on, number one, the adherence to the plan. I myself do much better with larger portion meals. I could quite happily just have 2 meals a day. Like, it just means I can sit down, kind of just like gorge out for a fair bit, and then like feel so full that I'm not moving for the next like 20 minutes. That actually just brings like a lot of joy to me. I don't know what it is. It's that feeling of fullness maybe. In comparison today, I've had like 4 meals that just kind of ticking me over. So there's definitely a fine line somewhere where I don't think 2 meals is the best. I don't think it's optimal. At the same time, I wouldn't be happy on 6 meals, because if I'm having 6 meals a day, that's like 300 calories, 400 calories, like up to maybe like 500 calories. Like it's definitely like you're just going to get bored of sitting down to 300 calorie meals or 400 calorie meals, whatever. That's just going to get dull. So there's definitely a fine line somewhere. So this is what we talk about when I say adherence, behavior, and lifestyle. Because if you're on your feet, let's say you're a teacher, or if you're working night shift and then you're on your feet all night and you can't sit down to have 6 meals a day, then of course it's out the window. But what I'm trying to get a point across is there is no evidence supporting that higher meal frequency is superior to weight loss. Again, as I said, please consider protein timing, satiety, and then adherence. So there is something with regards to protein timing which shows a bit more significance when it comes down to weight loss. And that's just because there's a more of a metabolic effect when you're actually consuming protein. So if you have 100 calories of protein and you're eating that, it actually takes about 30% to break down and digest the amino acids and then utilize it for growth and repair. So you're actually only absorbing 70 calories to utilize as energy. Other 30% just goes down to the breakdown and the utilization of it. Compared to carbohydrates and fats, you pretty much just break down all of it. So this is where having a higher protein diet is definitely going to have a lot more significant of benefits. Not only that, of course, if you just sit down to one meal at 150 grams of protein, there's no way your body's going to absorb and digest all of that. They say there's about an upper limit threshold of about 50 grams of protein body can absorb in one sort of sitting. Anything after that, you need to sort of wait about 3 or 4 hours to make sure you're maximizing muscle protein synthesis. All muscle protein synthesis is basically just the recovery aspect of your training. So again, this is why I always recommend at least 3 protein servings a day. 3 to 4 would be optional. All comes down to satiety and adherence.
Can I jump in here?
You sure can.
That's kind of that. I would say that was more kind of athletes and stuff that can break down like that amount of protein per serving.
Yep.
Your kind of average Joe guys like myself, what would you say was normal? I've got a figure of like 25 grams of protein per serving every maybe 3 to 4 hours would be the kind of max that I could absorb. Would that be right? Yeah.
I'd say anything about between 20 and 40. Again, more than anything, it really just kind of comes down to protein per day, was kind of your main target. So again, having a roughly 1 gram per pound of lean body mass would be kind of your main target. So if you break that down, that's like 4 servings of 40 grams. So anything between 20 and 40 grams of protein per meal would probably be your best approach. And that really just kind of comes down to a serving. Again, a protein shake is 30 grams, a chicken breast is 30 grams, fish is 30 grams, steaks 40 grams, like just a serving of protein would be fine. Don't get too caught up on the numbers or anything like that. But between 20 and 40 would probably do you. But on the right-hand side, we really just talk about calories. So again, 2,000 calories going in. You burn 2,400 calories a day. The deficit is 400. On the right-hand side, it's same again, 2,000 calories going in. You burn the same amount. What's basically happening here is you're consuming a certain amount, and then you're obviously going longer periods of time without consuming. So you're burning more for that period of time. And then again, you have this huge spike in consumption, and then you're longer. Compared to here, obviously you're consuming small amounts. You're probably not storing a lot either. It's kind of just staying in the bloodstream and kind of just going through there. But then you're just burning, again, the same amount off. So no significant difference at all. Again, it really just comes down to adherence and personal preference. Oh, age. This is a personal favorite. Now, we look on the left-hand side here. We look at basal metabolic rate, physical activity, and then the thermal effect of food. So we've found, and there is enough evidence supporting this, that with regards to your basal metabolic rate, as you get older, this changes by about 2 to 4%. The main thing which happens, and the reason that older people seem to be gaining a little bit more weight, is due to the red. The physical activity, as you can see on the right-hand side, think of how good it is to be old. You sit down, you just can have a nice wee blather, you're a lot more social, maybe you're retired, and 9 times out of 10, what's accompanied with it? Increased food consumption and highly palatable foods. Maybe you have lattes instead of cans of Monster. Maybe you have a cappuccino. Maybe you're just like, I fancy a wee scone here and there. So of course, because you're having more carbohydrates, maybe less protein in comparison, your calorie content, your calorie consumption is going up. That accompanied alongside your physical activity going down. So no, just because you're getting old does not mean your metabolism slows down. You're getting old and you're probably gaining a little bit of weight is because one, you're slowing down, and as well, your socializing is increasing, and the food consumption which you're having is eating. And again, there is enough evidence supporting this. Very interesting, very interesting. This only came out in like the last 5 years, so I thought I'd put this one first. It's a cool one, I like it. So yes, this is what we talk about when we speak about metabolism. So going off to the last two, again, if you have higher meal frequency, it'll spike your metabolism. When you're older, your metabolism slows down. It kind of just summarizes it perfectly. You're not a clock. You're not broken. Metabolism is the conversion of food into energy. It's the internal processes of everything that's going on in your body based on the external environment. So when you eat something and when you drink something, it provides you energy. There's obviously a lot of complex processes which go on in the body. It's, again, you break down cells, like you standing, you breathing. It takes 18 months for you to break down and recover 16 trillion cells. So if I was to speak to you 18 months from now, on a cellular level, you're going to be a completely different person. Completely different person. So again, this is what we speak about by metabolism. So your metabolism will increase dramatically when you have 1,000 calories, but it will also increase a small amount when you have 400 calories. The amount of the frequency and the amount is going to just sort of balance out. But what we need to look at is, again, when it comes down to think of Christmas, when you have a large, huge consumption of food, what often happens when you do that? You sit on your ass and you do absolutely nothing. So again, your external processes in terms of the energy requirements you need for the rest of the day have gone down dramatically. So again, that's where the sweet spot comes in. But again, as much as it is your metabolism is literally just the conversion of food into energy. If you can increase your energy expenditure, and we know the only ways we can do that is through physical activity and the thermic effect of food, having higher protein, having more fiber, having more fruits and vegetables, you will burn more calories in that sense. But this kind of feeds into like green teas, etc., etc., etc. Same again, green teas, there's an element of caffeine. The reason caffeine spikes metabolism is because, again, it increases the heart rate, so your blood starts pumping, so your heart is a muscle. So now you're contracting the muscle a lot more, and it's going a lot faster, so you actually do burn more calories if you have a higher caffeine content. There's some evidence out there saying that there's enough caffeine brings as much benefit as some vegetables do due to the thermic effect of caffeine and what it does to the heart and muscles. Interesting. Intermittent fasting. This is a cool buzzword which has been going thrown around from time to time. As you can see on the screen here, like intermittent fasting, like you mean skipping a meal? Like that's literally what it is. But it just has a fancy phrase word. So again, people can sell you buzzwords off of the back of it. You look at the different meal plans I have here. So the top 3 different meal plans, again, total calories is on the right hand side. So meal plan number 1 comes 1900, meal plan number 2 comes 1900, meal plan number 3 comes in at 1800. The food choices are the exact same, but on meal plan number 4, the individual is not eating after 6 o'clock. On meal plan number 5, they're not eating before 10 o'clock. So they're either basically skipping breakfast or they're not having snacks later on at night. So the reason intermittent fasting works is because you consume less calories because you're eating 1 less meal a day. That's kind of it. I don't really like, there's no sort of science or anything behind it. It's literally just numbers. I wish I had more to say to that one, but it really is that simple. So what we can use to utilize this though, and what I personally use to utilize this is, I actually do follow intermittent fasting. I'm not much of a breakfast person. I can very easily get up and just make my way through the morning and have 2 or 3 cups of coffee or a can of Monster or whatever. I tend to eat my first meal around 12 o'clock. I literally will get up, around 5:30, 6 o'clock, do a bunch of stuff online, do a bunch of like journaling, whatever, meditating. Start my workout at 10 o'clock, train from 10 till 11, of course, with a can of Monster beforehand. And then I'll sit down to my first meal about 11, half 11, just after I showered. And then I eat at 11 o'clock, between 11 and 12, between 3 and 4, and then I've just had my last meal there, so just between sort of 7 and 8 o'clock. On occasion, again, if I'm feeling well and if I've managed my spending a little bit, I would just have, again, my tub of Halo Top ice cream. So again, you look at basically what I've done here. This would take me to 1,600 calories, tub of Halo Top at the end, add on another 400 calories, and you'd be good to go. You hit your 2,000 calories a day mark. Just checking the chat. I've done intermittent fasting before when I was on the keto diet. Interesting. I'm just onto the keto diet. But yeah, intermittent fasting, again, basically just skips a meal. Here's one for you, Jackie. So carbohydrates after 8 o'clock. I think this photo kind of summarizes it perfectly. I don't understand. Like, do you think it's like gremlins? Like, in like the second it gets to 8 o'clock, all of a sudden the calorie gremlins just kind of multiply and multiply and multiply. That 1 minute after 8 o'clock, because you're not allowed to eat carbs after 8, it just increases the calorie content by like 10,000. Again, it's just putting some rules and regulations. Someone's just trying to, like, again, monetize the system by obviously just putting some form of restriction by reducing your calorie intake over the course of the day. So, carbohydrates. People say you can't eat carbs or carbs make you fat. People also say that fat makes you fat. So we know that when calories and protein were equated, there is no difference in weight loss. There is thousands and thousands upon thousands of studies supporting that if you put someone on 2,000 calories and make sure they eat the same amount of protein, and if you have a high carb or a high carb, low fat, or a high fat, low carb diet, there makes no difference for anybody. Carbs are the biggest thing people want to reduce out to cut out the diet regarding never known or never used to be 100%. Now you think about that. Why are you going to lose weight when you cut out carbs? Right, let's say we're sitting down to a meal, and like Arnie that's in my head at the moment. So Arnold posted a steak, which is high in protein, high in fat. You're probably talking, let's say it's like 400 grams. So you're probably having like 250 grams of protein, 150 grams of fat, and then you add sweet potato fries with it. So again, let's say it's a 700 calorie meal. 400 of that is coming from his protein and his fat, and then 300 of that's coming from his carbohydrates. So there's 30 to 40% of a meal. So when you cut out carbohydrates, you've just cut out 30% of all of your 40% of your food intake, some more. Again, that's going off of someone who's having a balanced diet. If you all of a sudden cut out carbohydrates and you don't know what proteins and fat are, from you then having a bowl of breakfast cereal every morning to, I can't have that as carbohydrates, you've now just eliminated you're now eliminating meals. Some people don't know what to do when they said you can't have bread. Like that's people's food. So of course, when you cut out carbohydrates, you're going to lose weight because you've just cut out 40% of your diet. So reduction in 40% of calories, you're going to lose weight. There was a man who went on a McDonald's only diet for 4 weeks. The before and after, he lost 6 kilos in 4 weeks just because he went on a calorie controlled diet. Now, he felt fucking terrible. Of course he did. But he lost 6 kilos in 4 weeks. So it's doable. So on the left-hand side, fat makes you fat. Carbs also make you fat. So low carb, high fat basically just means that you burn fat and then you store fat. If you have high carb and low fat, it just means you burn less fat, but then you store less fat. What happens here is the carbohydrates goes into the system, floats around the bloodstream as glucose, waiting to be used as energy. Over a 24-hour period, if it's not used as energy, it kind of just nestles into some of the bloodstream and just sits and then builds up in fat cells. If you haven't saw the webinar a couple of weeks ago, which we've done, which kind of has a kind of the overflow approach. If you can see my camera, just think of it as like as calories go in, it will overflow, and then you'll consume more water as it overflows in terms of consume more calories, and your weight will accumulate.
I think the carbs things become more of a big deal now because generally carbohydrates is it's the cheapest.
Yep.
It's the most available. And because it's the cheapest, people just tend to kind of gorge on it. I've got an example in my head. You walk into a petrol station, right, and you fancy a snack. What's the most ready available?
Crisps.
Crisps and sweets, sugar. It's all carbohydrate based.
Yep.
All carbohydrate based because it's the cheapest thing to produce.
Pretty much. Processed.
The thing with those restricted diets as well is when you try to control. I mean, it can be expensive having a fully protein-based diet. Try to buy in chicken and steak all the time because that's all you can eat. But and the carbs thing as well. And I've seen it with my dad. There's probably been about 10 cycles where he said, "Oh no, I'm putting my protein on, I'm cutting my carbs down," but it makes the relapses of carbs even worse.
That's it.
You cut them out for longer, and then there's a binge in carbs.
Don't think of a pink elephant. Don't eat carbohydrates. Psychology. No one ever considers it for some reason. So there's definitely a fine line somewhere. Of course, again, if you have a carb only diet, then as long as if you have 2,000 calories of carbohydrates and carbohydrates alone, you probably won't feel that good. Now that is literally just an Atkins diet. Atkins diet works. Like, it works for some people. If you're vegan or vegetarian, you have a highly carbohydrate based diet because you're not getting protein unless you're getting it from, again, alternative sources. Same again, we know lots and lots of healthy vegans and healthy vegetarians. Jackie, Herbalife encourages that 2 shakes, 1 meal. Carbs in that meal should be the size of your fist and no more, as your body can't burn fat. I used to tell people shit when selling it. Again, I think when it all just comes down to it, if you can look at a plate, I follow the rule of thirds, where just a third of it should be protein, a third of it should be veg, a third of it should be carbohydrates. Pretty solid. Another one that's a good one with obviously just your hand is basically just a palm-sized protein, a cup of carbohydrates, so just kind of be fitting into your hand. So if it's a full potato, that kind of works. And then fat should just be kind of like the size of your thumb. So if you think of a steak with some fat, a protein obviously would just be like a lean chicken, so you're not getting the fat, so you maybe use a bit more oil in that one. A very, very broad stroking bit of recommendation. Everybody's very, very different. That's just, again, a good guideline, a good recommendation to start off of. That's for females. Males, you just double it, but even then there's a lot wrong with that because I'm not going to get into that. All right, organic. This is a quite funny one. God, is it expensive? What's the significant difference? Ethical contribution to the world? That's about it, honestly. With regards to vitamins and minerals, no real significant difference. There's enough research now supporting that. It's less cost in the environment per unit of land, so of course it's a lot better for the environment, but it's greater cost per crop yield because it is so spread out and it's getting more sunlight and nutrients and stuff like that. But again, no real significant difference with regards to vitamins, minerals, etc. All it really develops is, again, a smug self of satisfaction, self-righteousness, just because you spend more money on your food every week. Good luck with your bank account, pal. What to look for? This cunt. Excuse my language, but this geezer here on YouTube, if you ever come about on YouTube and you spend a little bit of time, this guy speaks about body types. He's a pleb. Like, petrol goes into a car, a Jeep, a van. It's the same thing, right?
Is this the guy that comes up in the adverts? What's the quickest way from A to B?
Yeah.
I'm sick of seeing that advert.
This geezer here, mate. This is aye. The somatotypes, body types, etc. Aye, he's a nut job. Red flags, what you should kind of look out for is just these words. There's no one size fit all. There's no best. There's no worst. There's no always, never, superior. There's no body type. It doesn't. You see that, you know it's BS. Just kind of take it with a pinch of salt. When someone says that, oh, it worked for me, it's the best thing, it's the best diet I ever done, but just have a moment of consideration. But right, cool. There's a huge emotional attachment to that, so of course there's excitement. And anyone thinks that this is the best thing I've ever done, this is the best investment I've ever done. Like, but when it comes to diet and exercise, like, there's no one size fit all. Everybody's slightly different. It would have worked for them for some reason. Some diets work. Well, actually, you know what? All diets work. It's just the ability to adhere to the plan based on the time frame. Like, if you guys wanted, like, go join Weight Watchers for 4 weeks and then come back to me and then I'll teach you maintenance. Because it will work. You, again, eliminate carbohydrates. You'll eat like 3 meals a day, maybe one of them being a shake. You'll have a little bit of a community. They'll be measuring your weight. There'll be some form of accountability. It's the exact same thing that I teach you guys. It's calorie deficit, manage your food intake, and accountability. But you guys are just doing it in a way that still allows you to enjoy carbohydrates and still allows you to enjoy glasses of wine at the weekend, or if you're Jane Mooney drinking on a Monday night. You need a hobby, pal. So a very, very simple tool that I use is just trade these 2 words. Health is wealth. If you have 2,000 calories, you have 20 quid a day. All you need to do is take this number in terms of calories, chop off 2 zeros. If you have 20 quid a day, it's 140 quid a week. 2,000 calories a week. 2,000 calories a day is 14,000 calories a week. Manage your protein as if it's your bills and expenses. Again, make sure you get 30 to 40 grams of protein a couple of times a day, aiming to get roughly 1 gram per pound of body weight is kind of what you're after. Carbs and fat is just miscellaneous. It really doesn't matter the blend of the 2. Hope this kind of makes sense, and hope you again prioritize protein. So anytime you're looking at a meal, anytime you're feeling peckish, my order of meal is water, protein, veg, carbohydrates. If you can follow through on that one, protein's so much more filling, so much more satiating. Our stomach is just like a massive balloon. So if you filled it with water and then protein and then veg, you're probably going to reduce the amount of carbohydrates you're going to have, and you're going to get a lot more nutrients out of the protein and the veg. So that would be my honest recommendations. So how do we, some different strategies moving forward. I'm going to stop there actually and going to open this up. Does anyone want to jump in, ask any questions, anything slightly different? Oh, giving it away here. Anyone want to jump in or ask any questions at all, guys? If not, I'll move on. I know you're all excited to see John. All right, cool. So I want to just kind of get into some different strategies moving forward. So adjusting food pleasures for success. Again, the number one problem for weight loss is the concerning amount of weight regain. The reason that people lose weight is because they eliminate a lot of food. They cause a huge amount of restriction. They cut out carbohydrates. But then, of course, once we have this huge sort of decrease in foods which we enjoy, we have this massive rebound effect. We instantly attack foods and demonize them over the weeks of dieting. So when on a maintenance phase, or even when on a weight loss phase, we need to have a good understanding in terms of the pleasure of food, how foods taste, how much we enjoy them. Oreos, like chocolate Oreos, just taste good and they're high in calories. There's nothing wrong with that. I just know that if I'm wanting to have some of those, I need to accompany that with a few different things throughout the course of the day or throughout the course of the week. So what you need to do is, again, have some plan of attack in place, make some adjustments at the right time. Don't go out for meals. Again, let's say it's a Saturday night, you're going out for a few drinks and you're going out to Nando's or whatever it is they may be. You don't want to be asking for the chicken salad. You want to sit down to a chicken burger and chips, and if you want to have a Corona as well, you can have a Corona. But you now know that's going to be high in calories. It's going to be very easy to consume a lot of it, so you need to make some adjustments prior to that. So we're going to get into calorie cycling and calorie budgeting in just a second. I'm sure we've all kind of been through this. But think of it as a staircase. If you're having, on average, you kind of want to be about a 7 or an 8 in terms of how much pleasure you're getting from food. If you're trying to lose weight, you definitely want to stay away from foods which are highly, highly pleasurable and, of course, very easy to overconsume on. And then when you're trying to gain weight, you obviously want to stay away from the foods that you're just like, oh, this is just boring. So again, this goes both ways. So for example, William McNabb, one of the boys in here, so I just posted him. He was member of the month this month. We've been going through a dieting phase with him. He's lost 11 kilos in 7 weeks, which is, again, absolutely remarkable. But we're starting to increase his calories. So over the last 3 weeks, we've increased his calories 200 calories at a time. And this week he was like, mate, honestly, I don't feel like I need it. And I'm like, what have you been eating? So his breakfast now consists of a protein shake and a bowl of cereal. Crunch Nut cornflakes, to be precise. Good choice, may I say, William McNabb, if you're watching this back. So again, that's because he's going through at least 25,000 steps a day. So he's burning through it quite easily. So instead of him having porridge and like eggs and like bacon and all these sort of stuff, which is really high in nutrient density and relatively low in calories, we just went kind of the opposite. We were like, let's just focus on foods that taste really, really good, have a little bit lower nutrient density, and allow you to get the calories in. Because everybody's goal, and my goal with everybody here, is to have you dieting and maintaining weight on as much food as possible. Now, when I say as much food as possible, that will be a combination of, again, highly nutrient-dense food, food volume, so food quality, food quantity, and then, of course, foods that you enjoy. So making sure you're dipping out of the food pleasure, for example. So again, if having a few drinks at night, make sure throughout the course of the day, you're obviously having lower calorie options just to kind of tick the boxes in terms of, oh, I'm just hungry, I should have a peckish, I'll just have some of that. I do love Crunchy Nut cornflakes, but they're banned on my list because I can't control them. That'll be interesting. What we need to look is again, once we hit our mark and once we're sort of at that stage, Jackie, then we're definitely going to start introducing them. But for yourself, if that's on your priority list in terms of like don't want to go near, like, again, with me with Oreos from time to time, I need to be in the right frame of mind, and I can only sort of measure out the snack packs. You can buy snack packs in Lidl. They're perfect. They do 6 at a time. Then again, we need to maybe look at some making simple adjustments. If you really fancy a bowl of cereal, and again, you just have that craving for Crunchy Nut, go buy yourself Special K and have that, because it's going to give you that same, and it'll introduce it. And then over the long term, over the next couple of months, Jackie, our goal, or a goal of ours, is going to be for you to sit down and have a bowl of Crunchy Nut and enjoy it. I look forward to that happening. It'll take a bit of time, take a bit of communication, and we'll do that. Derek, you're coming into a reverse diet, so make sure you buy in some Crunchy Nut. Calorie cycling. So here's basically how John continued to lose weight through lockdown while drinking tonic wine. I taught John calorie cycling basically throughout the course of the week. Everyone should take a photo of this and send it to him until he's being used again. Like, yeah. So calorie cycling is just a simple method that allows you to adjust your food intake over a period of time to allow you to enjoy the finer things in life. John took this to the next level. Like, he really did take this to the next level. When lockdown first started, I threw out some mental challenges just with everybody. What Derek's here, he could contribute to this, and if William's still here, I don't know who's still on the call. But we started doing 24-hour fasts. Literally just Wednesday, 8 o'clock, or Wednesday, 6 o'clock, 24 hours. Next meal will be Thursday, 8 o'clock. So you're literally just not eating for one day, and you've just banked up 2,000 calories. So John kind of took this to the next level, and to my knowledge, has kind of kept it going. We spoke a little bit about it, and John now has one day at 1,000 calories just because of his activity levels and his work pattern. It's that transition between day shift and night shift, and he's like, I'm just not hungry. So we literally just allow John to have one day of 1,000 calories, and then, to my knowledge, 9 times out of 10, I can give John calories for the week and he'll hit it, and that's how he's still been losing weight. I think John weighed in this week at 97, which is the lowest he's ever been. So it works if you do fancy some buck fast. Right. So this is a little bit about what calorie cycling looks like. Again, we have done a lot of this. You guys have obviously seen it, but to actually see the numbers in front of you maybe resonates with you just a little bit more. So top one, plan number 1, 600 calories at breakfast, coffee, eggs, toast, 400 calorie snack at lunch. Again, fairly heavier meals sort of later on in the day, and then 800 calories. Again, that's a lot of food. Comes in a total of 2,400 calories. If, however, you can manage to hold off until 10 o'clock in the morning, again, you do what I do, power through on caffeine, have the same breakfast as you would, have the same lunch as you usually would. There you go, there's 1,400 calories which you can have. So that's a full bottle of wine here. Again, that's just going on a day-by-day basis. So if you had 400 calories here and 400 calories here, you could have a full bottle of wine at 1,000 calories, and then you'd also have 600 calories for dinner. That's how you make it work on a day-by-day basis. Down the bottom here, you can see 2,400 calories times that over the course of the week, 16,800. So the next one I'm going to show you is how do you do it each week. So you can see up the top side, plan number A is just hitting the same amount of calories every single day. So you'd have a calorie target of 1,875. The average, again, comes in 1,875. I know my numbers are messed up. Forget the last slide. Take the principle, not the numbers. So, yeah, on the top hand side, you can see here. Down the bottom hand side would be how you calorie cycle throughout the course of a week. So all we've done is we've just knocked off 275 calories Monday through Sunday. Again, we've just budgeted those lower calorie days Monday through Friday, maybe when you're at work, when you've got a bit better schedule. And then we've allowed for 2 high days at 2,550 calories. So you look at that there, again, 1,875 calories every single day, fairly consistent. Or if you can manage 200 calories a day every single day, Monday through Friday, you have 2,000, nearly 600 calories to have on Saturday and Sunday. Not only that, you're at more of a calorie deficit, okay, by 4 calories, but you get the point. So this would be day by day, over the view of a week. The next one is, again, a tool that I've actually used with John, and something I'm probably going to use with you guys more. I feel like John's just been my test subject over the last 6 months. It's been great. So what me and John do is we've actually done it a week by week. So we know that John does 2 weeks of nights and then 2 weeks of day shift. When John's on night shift, his circadian, in terms of his sleeping and eating pattern, is so messed up. We actually found he does better kind of not eating. He just kind of plows through on caffeine, has something to kind of just snack on and just kind of ticks the mark there. So I know that with John, I'm pushing as much weight loss as possible on these 2 weeks of night shifts, because he literally wakes up, sees the kids, goes to work, come home, sees the kids, goes to bed. Like, he's not got much time to focus on anything else. In comparison, when he's with the kids and he's working on the other side in terms of day shift, obviously he's up with the kids a little bit more, and then he's got a bit more time at night, so he's got more time for food exposure around the family environment. And if you obviously know what Nick, John's wife, does, Nicola, she's a baker. Like, there's a lot of good food kicking around. I've seen her on Facebook. It's quite tempting. So of course we deliberately budget for this. So we have two weeks with John where we focus on weight loss, and then we have 2 weeks of maintenance. So we're a bit more of an aggressive weight loss. John probably maintains on average around the 2,400 mark. So I would still expect John to lose a little bit of weight on this second week, and I would expect him to lose a lot of weight on this first week. So this actually has a lot of growing evidence and a lot of growing support. If you know that you're imagine coming into a week of 2,000 calories every single day. Like, if you've done this for 1 week, could you do it? If I just said to you guys, right, cool, this week we're all going to just have 1,200 calories and no more. It means next week you can have 1,800 calories every single day or 2,000 calories every single day. Would you suck it up for a week? Again, there's a lot of evidence out there supporting that this actually might be superior to weight loss compared to plan A, which is just the consistent 1,800 calories every single day. I know some of you are there, some of you are not. So again, you're all at different sort of stages. So we just need to make sure we're laying the foundation. I want to just make sure we're consistent before we start adding in so much variety and differentiation. This is something to really consider. So this is called the Satiety Index. So on the left-hand side, in terms of per unit of volume, in terms of how much food you're having, how filling it's going to be, compared to on the right-hand side, the satiety that this provides. So if you're looking to be on a calorie deficit and you're looking to consume less food, but you still want to have that feeling of fullness, having more potatoes, having more oatmeal, having more fruits, veg, such as apples, oranges, is definitely going to be more beneficial to you. So again, this is a very, very good tool which you guys can use, looking at the food quality in terms of the nutrient density which is contained in food. We've all been there before where we're snacking throughout the day, and even if we're choosing good snacks like protein bars or I just had like Thins, or I had my low calorie ice cream, or I just had my low carb low calorie packets of crisps, like whatever that may be, you're still going to feel really, really hungry. So like, you look at this on the left hand side, like peanuts. Again, peanuts are a great option, but they're not actually that filling for you, and they're very easy to overconsume on because there's so much calorie of it. Peanut butter, same as well. Peanut butter, again, very, very high in calories. It might be a healthy snack if you want to kind of butcher that term word, healthy. Good versus bad though. Be very, very mindful of healthy and unhealthy snacks. Again, something seriously to consider. Just the food quality definitely matters. Yeah. All right, that was me ranting on for a good hour. I'm going to come back. I'm going to open this up. I'm going to take any questions or concerns, or share your wins, or share your questions, anything that anybody wants to highlight. If not, it's Monday night, 9 o'clock. More welcome to just kind of shut off for the night.
No, I'm good.
All right. Yes, Ewan, you there, buddy?
Yep, no, I'm happy, yeah. Yep.
No problem. Well, this has been recorded anyway, so I'm going to upload this and have it unlisted to YouTube, so you can always come back and watch it at a later day. Quick announcement, guys. I'm going to be sending out a one-to-one, like a Zoom link. So just because Wednesday is the 1st of July, I just like to kind of get everybody just at the start of the month, just kind of reset, refocus, make sure we've got a bit of priority so we know what we're doing. So I'm going to try to get everybody in a one-to-one call over the next sort of week. On top of that, so far, I've had some donations based on the Black Lives Matter Foundation that we're doing. We're actually currently sitting at like £179. If anyone wants to donate to that, that's going to be next week. So this week is the last week for doing weight loss towards that. Ewan, if you haven't heard that, every pound that someone loses, if you want to get involved in that and contribute any more, then you're more than welcome to. But yeah, big push this week from everybody on weight loss. And if anybody wants to come in and raise any additional, then just give me a shout and we can do that. Apart from that, I think all is good.